Have you ever been blindsided by retrenchment? Or maybe that you've seen the writing in the wall and wondering what's next? Here's the truth. Retrenchment doesn't have to always spell the end to your career. It can be the new beginning. Trust me, I actually know about that. Top of the morning, everyone. My name is Tshidi and I'm back with a brand new video. Today's video is actually focusing on a very difficult topic for a lot of people: advice on navigating life's biggest career challenges. Today, we're tackling a tough but very important topic: retrenchments. If you've actually been retrenched or you fear that you might be retrenched, stick around because I'm trying to break down some of the top things that you need to do as soon as you find out that you're actually going through that journey or you think you might be going through that journey. Plus I'll also explain 3 reasons why companies tend to explain why they're doing retrenchment so that you can actually look out for some of these things yourself and prepare yourself for some of the things that might be coming your way as a candidate or as an employee. So April last year, I received one of those dreaded messages that you'll ever get that says, "Hey, listen, sorry man, unfortunately your position has been made redundant. We've decided to actually try and focus a bit of our energy in another country. So we don't think we need your position going forward." I had already known at least in advance that something might be happening. And I sort of anticipated some of these changes that will probably be coming my way. But one of the things that we can actually at least agree on is that hearing those words is never the easiest thing that you'll ever go through as a candidate, as an employee, or any other person. So it's not an easy thing that people are going through whenever they go through retrenchment. There's a few things that I actually want to share with you guys that will hopefully help you navigate your career and your journey through retrenchment. Before we dive into how to handle retrenchment, let's actually understand why it happens. There's a few reasons why companies do this. One of the first ones that companies will always talk about is financial difficulties within the company. When companies face declining profits or rising costs or economic downturns, they tend to actually retrench employees because that's one of the easiest expenses to actually cut out of their books. And one of the things that you guys know is that during the pandemic or even just post the pandemic, many companies reduced their workforce due to declining profits. The second reason is actually business restructuring. Companies may restructure to become more efficient, merge with other organizations, or shift their strategic focus. Unfortunately, this often also means that you have to eliminate certain positions that have got other double number of people that are doing those. The third reason is actually industry market shifts. So entire industries can actually evolve, decline due to whether it's technological advances or changing consumer demands or even just any global competition. We've seen that happening in the last couple of years where some of the biggest companies like Google, Microsoft actually even retrenched. And these are companies that nobody ever expected to actually retrench their employees. Now that we actually know the common reasons for the retrenchment, let's try and focus on how to bounce back if it happens to you. And here are some of the top 5 things that you actually need to know before you actually prepare yourself for that journey that you'll be going through. The first thing is understanding your rights and benefits. When you are retrenched, companies often actually have legal obligations to you as an employee. It's crucial that you actually understand these to avoid missing out on some of these things. In most cases, if they're retrenching quite a number of employees, they'll normally have a package that they'll need to give to some of those employees. So it's important also to try and familiarize yourself with the labor laws in your country if you need to actually do that, to know about the severance packages that you're actually entitled to as an employee. Check for your benefits such as any medical aid extensions, because sometimes you'll find that certain companies will agree to actually pay medical aid for a certain number of years, especially if they're already covering that. Pension funds, you need to understand where you're going to move your pension funds, and any unemployment insurance that might come your way. And ask for retrenchment letter outlining the terms of your departure, because that always helps a bit later in the process. If you're unsure, it's always nice to consult, whether it's a friend, consult a labor lawyer, or sometimes, yes, I know it's not necessarily always the best piece of information that you can get. Sometimes ChatGPT can also be very helpful in asking it very generic, specific questions about different countries and how labor laws relate to specific issues that you're going through. Now that you actually secured your legal footing, let's talk about what comes next. Keeping your finances, intact. The second thing that you need to do once you find out there's a retrenchment happening is reassess and realign your finances. Retrenchment often means that you're losing out on a steady income. If you've been getting money every month, retrenchment basically means that the next month or so, you won't be getting that money anymore until you find another job. So treat this as an opportunity to actually separate your wants from your needs and also avoid panic decisions like cashing out your retirement fund or your pension funds, because in most countries, that's the only time when you can actually cash that out. Be willing to also downsize to actually save money, because that can also save you a lot of money, where you either sell your car, you buy a smaller car, to just make sure that during that time you do not have any financial stresses that you're going through. Once your finances are actually under control, the next step is actually to find a stronger comeback. How are we coming back to this particular journey that we're in already? Let's look at number 3, which is revamp your CV and online presence. You'll be competing in a very tough job market, so a CV and an online profile need to actually shine. So update your CV with your latest skills, make sure that they actually stand out, your achievements, any responsibilities that you might have, and also refresh your LinkedIn profile, because it's very important that your LinkedIn profile is up to date. Recruiters are always looking out there, so make sure that you actually do that for yourself. Showcase some of your transferable skills, especially on your LinkedIn. Use keywords, guys. I think one of the things that a lot of people do not understand is whenever we look for candidates online, we tend to actually look for them using keywords. So please try and use as many important keywords for the job markets and the industries that you're looking for, specifically for your CV, and it will also help you in your ATS. Once the CV is out of the way and you've now been able to position yourself as a strong candidate, let's talk about understanding the bigger picture, which is the company restructure. Learn from the restructure. Retrenchments often happen during restructures. So understanding the company's strategy can also give you some insights as to your next move. So reflect on the reasons why the restructure is happening. Was it financial? Was it technological? And if it's financial, then you understand also to try and say, is it affecting the same industry, or is it from, or can I look at other different industries that are not going to be affected by this? Use this knowledge to identify industries or roles that may actually be a bit more stable or in demand. Network, guys. Network with previous colleagues that have left your company before, people that know you. Reach out to them and make sure that they at least know that you're on the market. Because one of the biggest mistakes that you can make as a candidate is to always hope that your CV is going to speak volumes for you. Networking is one of those key things that you need to try and push as much as you can. If you suspect that there is future instability in your industry, try and consider upskilling your or transitioning to a different field. So the last thing that I want us to also understand with all these things that we've talked about is invest in yourself. What this means is that retrenchment is tough emotionally and mentally. It can take so much out of people. So it's important that as soon as you start realizing that there's a lot of changes that are coming up, start looking at upskilling through any free or affordable online courses, or any high demand areas that we might be looking at. Seek support from a career coach, because they can tell you some of the things that you need to focus a bit more on, and also speak to some of your mentors. So to recap, guys, 5 things that you need to consider once you get retrenched, or once you know that the retrenchments are happening. Understand your rights as an employee, reassess your finances, revamp your CV and LinkedIn, learn from your restructure, and try as much as you can to invest in yourself. Now, it's important that whatever we share these tips, we try and share them with other people that might find this very helpful. So if you know somebody that might be going through this journey, please share this with them, share it with your friends and family, and let's try and make sure that we actually share this to as many people as possible. Top of the morning once again with Tshidi. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.